Welcome to Fit, Fierce, and Fearless, the award-winning podcast hosted by Zen. This show is part of the Gen X pole arts ecosystem, where pole dance, movement, and midlife rebellion meet. We talk strength, reinvention, and what it means to take up space as women over 40, both on the pole and off. If you're done playing small and you're ready to move through life with confidence again, you're in the right place. Let's go. Welcome to Fit, Fierce, and Fearless, episode 57. I am your host, Zen, and today I have another very cool, inspiring guest, Doreen, who is joining me from California. So we're local again this week, guys. Doreen, I found you, or you found me. We found each other, I guess, on Instagram, which has been a theme of the podcast so far this year. I think I saw that you were teaching at one of the studios here. Maybe are you teaching with Moni Sky?
Yes,
Okay, so
yes,
that's
yes.
probably the connection that like brought us together. Either you were in a video or she mentioned you or tagged you or something. There was something there and I saw you. And then we've had a bunch of exchanges in DMs on Instagram. And yeah, I'm really inspired by the work that you're doing. And I'm going to be learning about you alongside the audience. So this is always fun for me because I don't have any idea where the conversation might lead, but I'm excited to hear about the work you're doing in the community that you've built and are continuing to build with women of our age group. And also, I have to tell you, Doreen, your pole journey, which is only a couple of years long, is too. Yeah, it's insane. Like how much you've achieved in such a short time is freaking amazing. And you're teaching and you're inspiring other people. So I want to hear about that too. I think looking at you and seeing you and on Instagram and whatnot, like I know that you had a fitness background prior. So you didn't come to pole from like a sedentary lifestyle. So that probably has had something to do with it. But yeah, I'm excited to get into it with you. So would you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, my name is Doreen, also known as the Fitness Mistress.
Mhm.
And Nancy, thank you for having me on your podcast. In fact, I stalked you. And as you mentioned, I teach. I haven't been an instructor for very long because I started out as a student, and then the studio owner was short of instructors and asked me if I wanted to start teaching, and I said, "Yeah, okay, okay." So I've probably been teaching for less than a year.
Okay.
And I went on your Instagram for inspiration.
Oh,
For inspiration, yes. And I copy your routines. Okay, I copy your routines. I admit it. I add a little bit of my thing to it. The stuff I can't do, I change it up. But my students absolutely love it. And then I started reading more about you and your fitness journey, and I actually thought that you were a lot younger than me, or I thought you were a lot younger than you are. I thought maybe you were in your 30s, and then I
oh my
started to read
God.
more about you, and I went, "Oh my gosh, she's just like me." You
Yeah.
know? So,
Thank you.
my background is in fitness. I originally was a stay-at-home mom for 15 years, married for 25 years, and then divorce hit.
Mm,
And I got into fitness. That's another story. I go to conferences and I talk about my story and how fitness actually saved my life. Um, but I had become a fitness coach to pay the bills. And what I learned is that's where I found my voice. And it was important to me to help women feel confident in their own skin. And nothing is impossible.
right.
Nothing is impossible. I believe that when you move, things will change.
Yes.
When
Yes.
you move, things will change.
Yeah.
So I think my fitness journey began at age 45. I am now 52.
Mhm.
And I want to say last year, just in 2020. 4, that's when my pole journey began.
Okay.
How did it happen? Well, I was in the middle of preparing for a bodybuilding competition that was on my bucket list.
Mm,
And I got really fit. I got really muscular. I got really lean. I think I started out at 118 pounds and I put on a ton of muscle. By the time I was almost ready, I had reached about 130 pounds. So this was a journey. This was a process. It did not happen overnight.
sure.
But something happened. Something happened that was so unexpected, and I was not prepared for it. All of a sudden, I couldn't sleep. And
Mm,
as we all know, we do not build muscle in the gym. We break them down. We build them at night when we sleep, at rest. That's when our muscles repair themselves. Um, so I
I don't
wasn't
know if
sleeping.
everybody listening does know that. Do you want to talk
No,
a
they
bit
don't.
more about that? Yeah. I think
Sure, sure.
assume that they're at the gym and they're building and people look at the pump, right? They're like looking afterwards to see, which that's just really the blood flow going to your muscles. It's not the actual muscles getting larger while you're at the gym, right?
It's rest. It's
Yeah.
rest. One of the most important things, or the most important thing in trying to build muscle, is rest. You have to allow your body to rest.
Mm,
And whether you're pumping iron, lifting weights, dancing, polling, we
yes.
have to allow our bodies to rest because our muscles are resilient, and our muscles will tell us when we've done too much. So we build our muscles, we break down our muscles, we tear them apart in the gym, we tear them apart in the pole studio, we do all kinds of things to our muscles and they become fatigued. It's at night when we sit down, when we lay in bed and we rest, that's when our bodies and our muscles repair themselves
Mhm.
and we get stronger. So getting back to my story, how my pole journey began, I was preparing for a bodybuilding competition, and all of a sudden, I wasn't sleeping. I was
Mhm.
waking up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the
Yes.
morning, and I was staying awake until the next day. And I could not work out. I didn't have the energy to do so. And this
Mhm.
is super important because a lot of people will push themselves. They don't get any sleep. And I tell my clients, how much sleep did you get? Oh, I only got 2 hours. I send them home. I will
Good.
not work with them because they have to sleep and they have to eat. And oftentimes people will work out and train without nourishing, and fueling up.
Right.
So I started to gain weight,
Mhm.
not because I was eating bad, not because I wasn't exercising, it's because my muscles were not recovering,
Yeah.
and I blew up another 10 pounds. I gained a total of 27 pounds in this 1 year within 3 months, and I didn't know what was happening. I went to the doctor and I had my blood work done, and my doctor broke it down. She said, "Honey, you're going through menopause."
Yeah.
And I started to cry because I
Oh,
wasn't ready. I said, but I still have a period. It's
yeah.
not regular." And she said, "Well, you know what? You're aging slowly because your nutrition is in check, your fitness is in check. Um, you're aging slowly, but it's that time." So I stopped training as hard because my body just was not recovering fast enough. And next door to the gym that I train at, I walked in, there's a pole studio that I saw every single day and always wanted to walk in. And so I decided to walk in, and I think it was like 2024. It was March of 2024. Walked into
Mhm.
Romance and Dance in Rancho
Mhm.
Cucamonga,
Yeah.
and I took a lesson, and I was super strong, and the pole humbled me really quick.
Yeah. It does that.
Uh, it does. And another thing that people don't realize, bodybuilders don't realize, when you lift weight and you build your muscle, the muscles, the the you shorten the muscle when you lift weights, okay?
Yes. Yep.
What was challenging for me when I took my first pole class, I could I could climb, I can do things that most women can't do. I didn't have the mobility.
Right.
I didn't
I
have
have
the
that issue.
flexibility.
Yeah, I have that issue with my shoulders and my upper back, and I'm very muscular, and that comes from being a swimmer for all of my formative years growing up and doing triathlons in my 20s and 30s and swimming and running. But then I started training hoop in addition to pole. And so I don't know if you have ever done hoop and aerial, but it really is even more so than pole. It builds the upper back and shoulders. And I
Mhm.
just started retraining back bends last week. And even just getting my arms straight up and like behind, it's just, especially on my right side, which is my dominant side on pole, I'm so muscle bound. I don't have that range of motion right now because too strong. Not I'm too strong, but as you're saying, right? The muscle is not.
Lengthening. Yeah. Our
Yes.
muscles are a lot shorter, but I will say after 2 years of stretching and, warming up, because that's another thing I didn't do as a
Yes.
bodybuilder is I didn't warm up
Right.
appropriately and I didn't cool down appropriately. So now that I
Okay.
teach, I have to warm up my students and I have to cool them down.
Yes.
Um, but
So
yes, as you the back muscles. I could never really truly do an unassisted pull-up. I
uh
couldn't, I could do maybe one, but one day I walked into the gym. This is just probably last year, and I decided to get on the pull-up bar and see if I can knock out some pull-ups. And
yeah.
this is just from doing pole, okay, consistently. I knocked out 8.
Amazing.
Just
That's a
8.
lot.
I was
Yeah.
super excited. And
Yeah.
and yes, the hoop, I have done some work on the hoop and you can't climb a hoop like you can climb a pole. It's all in your upper body, in your shoulders, and in your back, your lats, because you have to pull yourself up.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So I had a knee injury last year and hoop felt great because I wasn't putting any weight on my legs. So my knee was relieved of any pressure or pain. So I trained hoop almost exclusively for at least 6 months. And I built all of that shoulder, upper body carriage and everything. So now I'm trying to not undo that, but loosen things up so that I can do some more pretty shapes on the pole where I need to get my body wrapped around, that one singular axis in space, which is not easy to do.
No, I struggled with Superman. It
Yes,
took me 6 months to do Superman
me
because
too,
it was
too.
that
Yes,
flexibility.
yeah.
And I mean, now I have it. Now I can do it. And ballerina, all that
I
twisted
cannot do
grip stuff.
ballerina. Mm-mm, I can't. It doesn't happen for me. I can do it without holding on, right? So if I can get
Mhm.
into like a, or if I can do an elbow grip, and I don't even think there is an
Mhm.
elbow grip ballerina, but a lot of
There
things
is. There
I could
is.
do an elbow grip instead of doing the twisted grip. Same with Aisha. True grip for me. Anything twisted, like you're saying, is like, yeah, my body's,
I
you know,
I learned with Twisted, and I thought that maybe I injured my rotator cuff,
oof,
but I did not. I did not. What was actually happening was that my body was conditioning itself, conditioning itself, and becoming strong. And I noticed that when, as an instructor, a lot of the students want to hurry up and they want to do the tricks. I
yes.
was there. I didn't want to do the choreographer. I don't have a dance background. I felt like I had 2 left feet. I didn't feel sexy, you
Yeah,
know?
yes,
And, and I think it was because I didn't feel comfortable in my own body and I didn't understand how to move it.
right,
And so when I became an instructor, I just got better. I got stronger. My muscles became more flexible. I became more confident in my own body because if I'm not confident in my body, how am I going to teach my
right,
students to feel sexy and beautiful?
right.
Um, so getting back to how I became and how I started pole, I walked in, I fell in love with the pole classes, and I said one day I'm going to learn this. I'm going to learn this. I'm not flexible, but I'm going to learn this and then I'm going to teach it. And then a year later I was asked to teach and I absolutely love it. I think I teach it more than I train my personal training clients.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Yeah, there's something strange about it. Like, um, it just pulls you in. And I think if you are on a journey of self-discovery already or beginning, to go in that direction. And you said, you went through a divorce and menopause and all these things start changing. And so for so many of us who come to pole around that same time in life, it just gives us something new and a new way to learn about ourselves and to connect with our bodies and our minds, because it's hard and it's a challenge, but it makes you want to keep going back because of that, I think. And it's like, I want to be good at this, I want to do this, I want to master this, right? It's so
Hmm.
interesting. It's different than going to the gym or doing sports. And I'm not sure exactly why. There's been a lot, we've had a lot of conversations on episodes of the podcast about it. It seems to be a pretty universal experience, but it's really difficult to pinpoint the exact reasons, you know. When you,
I go
oh,
on.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I said I wish I had saved all of my beginner pole videos.
What did you
I
do? You deleted them?
I deleted them for two reasons, and I'll be honest. I did not like the way my body looked.
Aw.
Yes, I was not. For many women starting menopause, perimenopause, we
Hmm.
become our bodies become strangers to
Oh, yeah.
us.
Hmm.
So I looked at it felt like I would never lose that excess weight.
Yes.
And I had a hard time accepting that that was going to be my body for the next my something just happened to my brain,
Yes. Yes.
um, but I am on HRT, and
Hmm.
I will say that that changed my life. And
Yes.
within getting on the HRT, that has been a journey too. I dropped the 27 pounds within 3 months. But
Mm,
having said that, I wish I had saved all of the videos, um, to show, I that I wasn't perfect, that I
right.
didn't start pole doing these crazy acrobats and I wasn't graceful. The
Mhm.
gracefulness came, I want to say, when I became an instructor.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
I always encourage everybody to take video from day one and to keep it for the reason you're talking about. I mean, we may not feel comfortable with the way we look, but we change over time. And I think
Mhm.
being able to look back and see that change, there's something reaffirming about it too. Even though it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it helps us to also realize in a tangible way that nothing is forever, right? I relate 150% to what you're saying about not liking your body and all of a sudden it changes overnight. I gained a lot of weight too. For me, that whole arc is documented. If you go all the way back to my Instagram, you can see when I started, I was in perimenopause and I was super fit. I was thinner and fitter and like more muscular or defined than I am today. And then I gained weight and everything just started to look weird as I got closer to like the end of my periods. And then just kind of peaked at this point where I was like, what is even happening? And like you said, I didn't change anything. I was working out at the gym as much as always. I was polling as much as always. I was doing yoga. I was doing all the same stuff. I didn't change my diet, but all of a sudden my body just did its own thing and I was not recognizing myself. I started HRT as well. That helped to some degree. And I think for me, stress was a big had a big effect on it as well. A big effect on the way my body was holding on to weight, whether it was fat or water or I don't know what, or not metabolizing food in the same way. So once I really got that in check, now I feel like I'm done with menopause. I've been through the 12 months without a period. I'm on HRT and now I'm feeling like my body is okay. Now I'm looking more like myself. I'm like what I feel like what I look like, how I feel, right? It's like looking and feeling in a way that's congruent is kind of what happens. It's like I feel this way and then I look a different way and I'm like, what? how is that me? It doesn't make sense. So I feel like it's coming back full circle for me. And I did not delete those videos. They're still public.
I have a few. I have a few. I have the first class I ever took, I was taught Jasmine.
Okay.
I couldn't do it. I fell on my head.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I fell on my
It's
head. I
all
show
hard.
everyone.
It's all hard. Um, so I know that you were a bodybuilder, as you were saying, you were working on preparing for a competition. So how long were you doing bodybuilding, and was that something you also started in your 40s, or has that been a lifelong pursuit?
Well, my fitness journey began at age 45.
Okay.
I was always active, but I was going through some problems in my marriage and I was having health issues. I
Mhm.
didn't feel like I was stressed out, but your body knows. Your
Yes.
body will turn on you.
Yes.
So there was a time when I started losing my hair.
Mm,
Um, and I took a bunch of tests. Doctor said it was a hypothyroid,
okay.
but intuitively I felt like it was something else. So I saw another doctor who is a holistic doctor, more
Yeah.
of a holistic, and she did something. All I can do is the way I describe it is witchcraft and white magic. She did
Yeah.
something and she said, "You don't have a hypothyroid. You have adrenal fatigue. You're stressed out. What's
Mm,
going on in your life?" And all of a sudden, I felt like this this wave of emotions and I started crying on the table as if
mm.
something died.
Wow.
And I knew exactly what it was. I was actively grieving a marriage that was no longer alive and I was just afraid to pull the plug.
Yeah. Wow.
And I remember these words that she said to me. She said, "It is a good thing that you have fitness in your life and that you eat well, because if you didn't do any of those things, you probably would have had cancer."
Wow.
So that's when I created my fitness business. During that time, I still had a period. And my belief was that every extra fat cell is stored energy from unshed tears, unhealed wounds, from unresolved trauma. External
Beautiful.
transformation follows internal healing.
Mm,
And so my training focused on environmental factors. I would ask my clients, what's going on in your life? What does your environment look like?
yeah.
How are your stress levels? Because oftentimes, like you said, like I said, we're eating right, we're exercising,
Mm,
but why aren't things falling into place? Why aren't we seeing any changes?
yes.
So now, because I'm going through this change and I've learned a lot of lessons, I now require that my clients get a blood work done, check
Mhm.
their hormones, because never in a million years did I think that it was my hormones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I got a divorce. Our divorce finalized in 2020. The world shut down, and I had my health and I had my fitness business.
Yeah.
And since then, I've been helping women build stronger, leaner curves.
Oh, I love it. Um, wow. So this is the inspirational part that I mentioned at the beginning. Tell us more about your fitness business and the women that you work with and the work that you do with them.
So, specifically, I work with women that are middle aged. Oftentimes, they come to me and they don't understand why they can't lose any weight. So, like
Mhm.
I said, I have I have them go see the doctor and get their blood work, and then we go from there. We do their body composition to see what their body fat is and their muscle mass is, and I write out a whole meal plan. But most importantly, it's important to me that they understand that they're beautiful. That beauty is external transformation follows internal healing.
Yes.
That just because all these changes happen in their life, they put on some weight, their skin might be a little bit more wrinkly because they're older, it doesn't change the person that they are. And
Right.
until they start accepting that they're beautiful inside, that they're still that same beautiful person, they're not going to see any changes.
Mhm.
I'm also a holistic sex coach. And when I say holistic sex coach, I don't teach women how to have sex. I don't.
Okay.
So one of the most important one of the one of the biggest issues that women have, especially at this age, is, a couple of things. Their lack of libido,
Yeah.
incontinence,
Uh-huh.
dry vagina. So
Yeah.
what I also add into my training is we do a lot of pelvic floor work.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
If you have a strong core, strong pelvic floor, you basically end up building a bulletproof body, which is
Nice.
why we're able to do the things that we can do on the pole.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, I love that. And I've experienced all those things. And I love what you're saying about well, I don't know if I'm going to quote you correctly, the external transformation coming from the internal healing.
External
So,
transformation follows internal healing. You got it.
yes, I did. Okay. Um, because I experienced that. I've experienced it twice. I experienced it when my husband passed away, and that was when he was sick, and that stress and everything I was going through, and you know, taking care of him and my kids and blah, blah, blah. And then shortly after that, COVID happening, and I look back at photos of myself from when he was sick and right after he passed away. I look like a different person. I mean, everything that I was ignoring because I couldn't process it in the moment because I had to do everything for everybody else. It was showing up externally. So it's almost like the reverse of what you're talking about. And when you're saying that, the holistic practitioner who helped you said if you didn't have fitness and everything else, you might have had cancer. I feel like that is where it was going for me. Like all of that emotional stuff and trauma was manifesting itself physically in my body and it was visible. And if I hadn't been able to turn it around, and I got very much into my yoga practice at that time. And during COVID, it was yoga outdoors and walking everywhere. Um, and then I started to, I was processing internally and it was showing externally as well. But yeah, I experienced it in both directions. And it's remarkable. I mean, it's surprising when you realize what's actually happening. Nobody talks about
You no, you just I have the goosies right now because as you're talking about your experience, it just brought back a whole wave of memories. I'm not the same person today that I was in 2020 and before. And we as women, as mothers and wives, we manage everybody else's emotions. We take
that.
care of everybody else except for ourselves.
Yes.
And the thought of taking care of ourselves and being selfish
Right.
sounds so selfish,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
But there is nothing more beautiful than self-love. That is the greatest gift that you can give yourself is that self-love. Love yourself like you love your children.
Yes.
And that is what I tell all of my clients. You got to love yourself like you love your children. The little girl inside you, who is she? Where is she? She's still there. Love her, cherish
Yes.
her, protect her. Um, circling back to nutrition, what a lot of women do because they're gaining weight is they eat less.
Yeah.
And they think by eating less, they're going to lose weight. Um, we have all these peptides out there
Hmm.
that help people eat less.
Hmm.
But I will say that the metabolism is like a muscle. It is like a muscle. What happens to your muscles if you don't use them? They
Right.
become weak, right? It's the same with
Yeah.
your metabolism. You eat less, you're actually slowing down your metabolism.
Interesting.
Slowing down your metabolism, which is why all these people that go on crash diets, they go on crash diets and
Hmm.
then they gain the weight back really fast.
Yeah. And we did that so much in the 80s.
Hmm.
I remember doing like the tuna fish diet and like the grapefruit diet. Like
The
we
liquid
would,
diet.
yes, exactly. We would like lose weight for whatever was going on in our life in the 90s too, when everybody
You
wanted to be.
know, we lived in a different time where big
Different.
butts were not in.
Oh my God.
right? Big butts, curves were not
Yes.
in. Like
No.
women wanted flat butts. They wanted flat butts and no curves. And I love the fact that in this day and age, all the girls want curves.
Right? No,
They want the
especially for
butts.
somebody, yeah, like me. I was always curvy. I always had like the bubble butt. I was made fun of growing up in school. People called me bubble butt, whatever. So when it started to shift away from abs of steel and buns of steel, remember all that, to the
Yes.
Kardashian model. Not saying I'm a fan or not of the Kardashians, but I was grateful to J Lo and the
Yes.
Kardashians for bringing the butts into style, because I was like, thank God I can finally just like get on with life with my big butt and not have to be feel like people are calling me out all the time. Or if they do, it's in a good way. I was ridiculed. I was like, oh, I just remember being in like middle school and having people comment on my butt. It's an awful thing for a young girl to have to.
It is awful. I don't think I had that problem, but I did feel like my mother was very slender.
Mm,
She was very, very slender, and at some point I was bigger. You know, when you're going through puberty, your body just,
yeah.
yeah. And then all of a sudden, right after high school, I dropped a ton of weight and I was just this skinny little thing, you know? I looked like a boy in jeans. In fact, I remember a friend of mine telling me, "Oh, Doreen, maybe you should wear different jeans because you have a boy's body, a
Oh
boy's
my
figure, no hips." Yes, I remember that. But that was in the 90s
Uh-huh.
when J-Lo came out with that movie. I think it was Selena, right? And
Yes.
everybody was making fun of her butt.
Yes.
When I see older clips of her during that time, I
Yeah.
think her butt really wasn't that big. It's
No.
just she's just fit. That's the booty that all the women want today that they're working for, you know?
Yep. Yep. No, we were trying to have flat butts. I don't know. That was just very messed up. I mean, there's still
Now
some today that are messed up too, but yeah, we grew up. It was
yeah.
hard. It was hard being a girl in the 90s. It really
Yes.
was.
Yeah, and when I lose weight, the first thing that goes is my butt.
Yeah.
It really does. I'm so active in the gym and in the pole studio that I can't seem to hold on to any weight.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Oh my gosh. So, how do you balance out the teaching pull and the working with your clients and then your own training schedule? How does that work for you? Because for me as an instructor, I find that to be a challenge because as I'm getting older, I need more rest, like you were saying earlier. So, I'm teaching and then I'm trying to get my own pole time in the studio. And then I also want to do workouts in the gym or whatever. But then I get really tired and I need a full day or 2 days in a row where I'm just doing nothing, honestly. And then I'm like, I don't have enough time in the week to get all the stuff done. So I haven't hit the right rhythm yet for my training for myself and working with my students. So what do you do or what do you suggest? I know
That's
it's not
that's
just me.
that's tough. That's tough because I am exhausted Monday through Thursday.
Right.
I'm exhausted because those are my training hours, Monday through Thursday, and
Okay.
I have clients on Friday. But Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I don't work out. I won't
Okay.
get on the pole. I won't do anything. And if I'm if I'm teaching, let's say today I have 6 classes, right?
Wow.
I'm not going to go to the gym and work out.
No.
I'm not. And I've also learned to not demonstrate every move that I'm trying to teach over and over and over. So
Mm-hmm.
there are certain days where, okay, I'm tired, but I'm going to demonstrate it once and I'm going to walk you through it. Or
Yes.
there's days where I'm like too tired. Okay, we're just going to work on flowy, like movement. We're going to walk around the pole and do some pirouettes because pirouettes are probably the hardest move for beginners to do.
Oh yeah.
Um, let's do more stretches. Let's do leg waves. You
Yeah.
know, when my choreo is not challenging, that's because I'm tired.
Right.
Because I'm tired.
Okay, that's the real truth.
Yeah, it's because
Yes,
I'm tired.
it makes sense. It makes sense. So are you personally working out 4 days a week?
No, I okay, yes and no. So
Okay.
when I'm teaching, I'm working out.
Okay, it
It
counts
is
for
a
sure.
workout. It
Yes.
does count because when I will demonstrate the combination that I'm trying to teach first, and
Hmm.
that 1 minute spin or that
Yeah.
3 minute combo, that's a workout. You
Yes.
know,
Agree.
that's enough for me. Um, I do work out at the gym, but I limit the upper body
Yes.
training because I get plenty of that in the pole studio.
Yes.
Um, if I have a slow day, let's see, Tuesdays I don't teach. So I'll work out. I'll work out on a Tuesday. I'll go to the gym and Friday. So I probably am in the gym about twice a week. And
Okay.
as we get older, we don't need as much.
Right.
We don't need to train as hard because like you said, our bodies get tired. We need the rest. And sometimes I get to the point where I'm just too tired. I can't even sleep.
Yeah.
But as we're sitting here, my joints hurt, my elbow hurts, my forearm is sore, my
Yeah.
one shoulder from demonstrating figurehead over and over again. Yeah. So it's just trying to find the balance and trying, most importantly, just finding time to rest. So
Yes.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, no, no, it's recovery day for me.
Got it. Yeah, and that's how it tends to play out most weeks for me. I'll have 2 or 3 days in a row where I just rest. That
Hmm.
seems to be working currently. Um, and I try not to feel guilty about it. For me, the mental game is the hardest part of
Hmm.
thinking, "Oh, but I should be doing this," or "I should go to the studio at least for an hour. I should," instead of just being like, "Okay, no, this rest is good for me. This is what I need to do. I am exhausted. I have no energy. I'm sore." But I'm hard on myself. I think a lot of us are when it comes to that and understanding how important rest is. So I'm really glad you brought that up in the beginning because and that you explained it because I don't know that a lot of people understand that the muscles actually are rebuilding themselves and getting stronger while you're resting.
Yes, muscles need fuel, protein,
Mhm.
water, and
Mhm.
rest.
Yeah.
And I see this all the time with men and women, but we're talking about women. But I see this all the time with women who will say, yeah, I was at the gym for 2 hours. Now I'm going to do pole. And then tomorrow I'm going to do yoga. And
Yeah.
it shows up when they're in the studio. Like
Mhm.
for me, there was a time where I was overdoing it because as I was going through menopause, I was gaining all this weight, so I trained harder. And that
Yeah.
actually had the opposite effect on me. I
Same.
fell off the pole. I was doing an outside leg hang, but my form was compromised because I was so tired. We do the outside leg hang,
Mhm.
that inside leg has to go down straight. I
Mhm.
had it up and I fell straight down on my head.
Oh my God.
Yes,
Scary.
it was, but it was a wake up call for me. I realized my body was telling me to rest.
Yeah. Wow.
And no matter how old we are, we still need the rest.
Right. Very important. So, everybody listening, get your rest. Don't feel
Yeah.
bad about it and get a lot of water, hydrate.
Yes.
Um, is there anything that you do differently? I know you haven't been doing pole for all that long, but your fitness journey started several years back. So, as you're going through menopause, is there anything else that you've had to change or that you notice that's different? Are you eating differently, supplementing differently? We talked about range of motion and muscles, and we talked about sleep. And you said your sleep has improved since HRT, right?
Yes, it
Okay,
has.
that's good. I noticed that too when I started the estrogen and the progesterone. Progesterone, like my sleep improved a lot. But now what I notice is if I drink even like a glass and a half of wine before I go to bed, it disrupts my sleep terribly. As before, I would just, have a nightcap and go to sleep, and that was normal. Now I'm like, oh God, it makes me wake up at least once, if not twice in the night. So that's something new that has to do with my metabolism or my hormones, or I don't know,
Well,
unfortunately.
I hear that alcohol is something that it, it affects us. It affects us, especially if we're going through menopause.
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink, but if I do, I'll have a glass of wine and it's during the day. I'm
Yeah.
a day drinker type of person.
Uh-huh.
But what have I been doing differently? Um, I really value my sleep. I still wake up at 2 o'clock. I still wake
Exactly.
up at 3 o'clock. The only difference now is now I'll go back to sleep within 30 minutes, whereas before I would just stay awake.
Okay.
So 3 o'clock in the morning seems to be the witching hour for a lot of my clients and women that I know that are going through what we're going through and experiencing. Um, what I have, because I believe that knowledge is power, and whatever experiences that I have had and what I have learned I like to share with
Mhm.
other women, because when I was going through it I didn't know who to ask.
Right. Same.
It's something that most women don't really want to talk about because they think, oh, menopause, the great pause. So what I've created, and it's also helped me too, because I'm able to, I now get to hear other women's stories, but I have a webinar. It's called Women's Wellness Unveiled. And I
Hmm.
do this monthly. It's open to any woman who's in her middle age. She can be in her mid 30s. On up. And every month I have a guest speaker.
Uh-huh.
Last month I had a woman who's a gut specialist. She's a gut goddess. And she talked about our gut health and how important it is, not only when we're younger, but especially when we're older and we're going through menopause, and the number of things that we can do to help a lot of the symptoms that we have. Our
Hmm.
gut is super important, right? Um,
Absolutely.
Prior to that, I had a holistic sex coach and we talked about orgasms. That was fun. I didn't know there were over 8 different types of orgasms women can have.
What? No, I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah, it was a great talk. It
That's
was it was a great talk. Yes.
need to get on
But
that. I need
most of that, and that's part of the reason why I became a holistic sex coach, because I'm like, well, it fits in with my whole fitness and wellness,
sure.
right? If we have
Yes.
a strong pelvic core, we have better orgasms. You work out, if you work out and exercise, it extends your life, and it's also you have stronger orgasms.
Amazing. So if you needed an
Yeah.
excuse to work out or motivator,
Yes.
everyone
Yes.
listening, here you go. Yes, you want
Yes.
orgasms, you better work out.
Yes. An orgasm a day keeps the doctor away.
Nice.
Yeah, and prior to that, I had my doctor. She's a well-known doctor. She was on the show The Doctor. She travels, and people from all over the United States will come see her. She's my
Wow.
doctor, and I'm pretty fortunate to have her as a friend. But she was also a guest speaker, and she talked about women's hormones. She talked about sex, and she did say, you have to have an orgasm a day. Have an orgasm a day, whether it's self-inflicted or with a partner. Have an orgasm a day. It helps with your longevity and
Amazing.
your youth, ageless beauty.
Mm,
But circling back on our muscles, the fountain of youth is not what we put on our face and on our skin. A fountain of youth, and this is really, really important, okay? And not many people will expect this answer, but the fountain of youth is found in our muscles and our
mm,
bones. When I was 47, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm probably going to go through menopause, or there is a change. So my goal was to build as much muscle as I possibly can, because as we get older, the first thing we start to lose is we start to lose muscle. Our
right.
muscle is what keeps us strong. Most women our age and older, they tend to suffer from hip problems.
Yeah.
Why? Because they don't take care of themselves. They're not mobile. They don't eat right. They don't exercise. They don't move. And what
Right.
happens to your muscles if you don't use them, if you don't stretch them, they become weak. So I
Yes.
don't want to be one of those ladies.
No. Right. And that's the whole reason I started this, is just to encourage more women to try moving. And pole
Yes.
is so fun and encouraging and safe, and it connects us to ourselves in different ways. And it's not like going to the gym. You're surrounded by other women, right? And the environments that I create are other women of your same age group too.
Yeah.
So you don't have to feel awkward around a bunch of young, fit, beautiful women in the studio, because it is so important. And I think another key fact is, even if you haven't been active up until whatever age you are right now, it's still important that you start right now. Like, it
Mhm.
doesn't mean
Start
don't
now.
start. Yeah, it's not like, oh, well, I'm already 50. I haven't been active. What's the point in starting now? It's like, no, you start now. Because at 10 years, when you're 60, you're going to be like, oh, well, I've already been working out for 10 years. And you're going to benefit from that. And you're going to have a healthier, more comfortable 60s decade, because you're
It's
still,
never too late. It's
no, you
never
guys,
too late to get healthy.
right.
Never too late. It's too late when you stop and you realize you're in the hospital.
Yes,
The greatest investment that we can invest in is ourselves.
right. Yep, yep.
The
And I think
greatest
as women,
investment is in ourselves.
yeah, we devalue ourselves. And
We
you
do.
said it earlier, like, we put higher value on everybody else around us, our spouse, our children, our parents, our whoever, our bosses, um, and we suffer for it. And once we do understand that it's not selfish to care for ourselves, we become better for it. And then we can care for the ones around us in a more authentic and true way, because we're more in touch with who we are and we're more present with ourselves. So then our love is felt in a stronger,
Yes,
more meaningful
absolutely.
way.
Our body is our home.
So I think that everything you said just really lands for me. I think it's so important for women, no matter their age, to realize it's not selfish. It's actually going to benefit them and everybody around them. Just start moving.
Start moving, return home to yourselves.
Absolutely.
When,
Beautiful.
when we think of a home, we think of security, state, safety, stability, but we don't think about building a home and finding a home within ourselves.
Hmm.
So I think that's what we both do is we help women come home to their bodies.
I love that. Oh, I love that. And on that note, I think we're going to call it an episode. I am going to put links to all of your things in the show notes and the description. So, anybody listening, you can follow Doreen on Instagram. You can connect with her health and fitness business and coaching. All the links will be there for you, and they can connect with you on Instagram with questions or leave a comment on the podcast episode, and I'll make sure that she sees it. I feel touched by everything you said, Doreen. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, your expertise, your experience with us. I think you're beautiful inside and out, and you're super talented in everything that you do. If you are in the Inland Empire area, check out her classes. You can probably find them on her Instagram as well. But thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be here, and thank you for sharing yourself. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And your story
You-
touched me. I stalked you on Facebook, Instagram. I stalked you on Instagram.
I don't mind. I was going to say I didn't feel a thing. No.
Thank you.
All right. Until next time, everybody. Thank you for being here. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Fit, Fierce, and Fearless. If this episode moved you, please share it, subscribe, and leave a review. This podcast is part of the Gen X Pole Arts community, which is built for women over 40 who are using movement, pole dance, and courage to rewrite the rules of midlife. Until next time, stay strong, stay curious, and stay unapologetically you.